Welcome to this party political broadcast addressing the biggest challenge of our time, the climate emergency. The magnitude of the challenge we face requires radical and urgent action on a warlike footing in terms of speed and spend. As a consequence, we have reached out to the other political parties and agreed the broad strategy so no matter who is in government, the future direction of travel is assured. So for today, we will no longer receive or accept donations to party funds from those seeking to slow the energy transition or with assets linked to fossil fuels. And we will cease being led by the think tanks, lobbyists and vested interests that dirty money funds. We will pass legislation to give Ofcom the power and the resources to require the deliberate misinformation to citizens by the fossil fuel industry require both a public retraction and will be subject to a substantial fine to both the media used and the company in keeping with the benefits sought by the lie. It is no longer going to pay to use propaganda and gaslighting to mislead you and the new purchasing decisions they are trying to effect. We will seek, along with the EU, to break up big oil so that the industry is forced to clearly split up their operations and management into two separate businesses, legacy fossil fuels and a real new energy business going forward. Professor Julia Steinberger explains why this is necessary.
So I think that a lot of people, from policymakers to media, pundits, journalists, to climate scientists themselves, really just hoped that the fossil fuel industry could be convinced that climate change is real, it's a real problem, and that they should be on the right side of history somehow and reorient their industry towards renewables and other kinds of products. And the fact is that the fossil fuel industry, as we now know, not only knew about climate change way back when, but they had better climate models than university scientists or the IPCC. So this is something we know from a recent article by Jeffrey Supran, Naomi Oreskes, and Stefan Ramstorff in Science Magazine. And so the lesson from that, I think, is really that this industry should never have been taken seriously as a partner. They're not energy companies. That was this illusion that you get from models where you say, oh, well, you make one kind of energy. Well, you could make another kind of energy. But that's not how these companies operate. They really identify with their products, and they really identify with petroleum, gas, and coal.
We remove the annual tax break worth $10 billion per year that the fossil fuel industry currently enjoys, and in addition, significantly tax their profits. This will part fund expansion of renewables, the upgrading of the national grid, energy storage, solar, wind and tidal energy production, home insulation, infrastructure such as electrifying the rest of our railways, car and lorry charge points nationally, and the decommissioning of fossil fuel infrastructure. In addition, we require that they pay the cost for the climate mitigation their products have caused for both sea defence and flood protection nationally, and pay compensation to those that have lost homes and livelihoods due to no longer being covered by insurance. We will immediately lift the ban on onshore wind and cancel all current and future wasted investment in fossil fuels, coal, gas and oil, but spend every penny on renewable alternatives. We will immediately remove the linkage of the price of natural gas and the cost of electricity and switch the green levies on the standing charge on electricity to the gas standing charge. That rather than provide £5,000 grant that just applies to air to water heat pumps, we will remove all taxation either directly on the products, VAT, from electrification and indirectly. Therefore, those that remove their gas meter or their oil tank and therefore their use of fossil fuels can reclaim any tax paid on funding the infrastructure to achieve this, all funded by monies no longer given to the fossil fuel industry and the new tax revenue on their profits. In addition, we will provide grants to those on low incomes to allow them to be able to transition. All future transport vehicles purchased by government or councils will be 100% electric. We will do what's necessary to encourage businesses nationally to speed up the transition away from diesel buses, lorries and vans for passenger transport, freight and goods. Businesses will also have the incentive to add solar to existing warehouses and factory facilities to utilise the wasted space for energy production. New builds will require to add solar as part of any future planning permission. Moving to housing, all future new homes will require to be 100% electric with no gas supply and be fitted with insert solar panels as standard rather than tiles, along with battery storage appropriate to their property size. This transition is both prudent as well as a revolution not seen since the first industrial revolution. And finally, this will put the UK back in the world leading place in the energy transition. The benefits of these policies economically and to the health of the nation as local pollution is removed will be increasingly compelling and obvious, and show that net zero is not a pipe dream, but a very achievable goal. Thank you for your attention.